Peace. Greetings to you all. It's your brother Nyhiem, BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts. What's going on, family? Hey, make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all share the video out. We're going to have a discussion today. We're going to recap the video we just watched on the Be the Power channel, which was our re-airing of the Charles Blow interview. We're going to speak a little bit to Stacey Abrams' run in Georgia. She's gonna try her hand at the governor's office again. How should we take that, right? Stacey Abrams is a freedman. We're gonna look at her record a little bit, and we're gonna talk some Southern stuff in relation to our people. And we're gonna talk about the pariah, Yvette Carnell, and the statements that she made against the Black South strategy. She's becoming a nuisance at this point. I don't know what's wrong with her, but we're gonna play her words so everybody can hear. These type of narcissists, what they do is they go on a scorched earth campaign. Anything outside of their cult-like thinking, they shun and they frown upon. They diss it, because that's what she did. And we're going to let you hear her words directly. So, let me see what's going on. Let me see who's in the building. Sister Shanna is in the building. Brother Keelan is in the building. Poetic Justice. Hell Smith said, becoming ain't the word. Yeah, she is a pariah. That's exactly what she is. So we are going to address her words tonight, the stuff that she said in her little live stream that she does for donation, right? We're going to see and ask anybody who's a follower of hers, does she have a plan? What is her plan? Because she has no plan. Peace, Sister Fate XX. Peace to the OG Arthur Ward in the building. So, I want to recap the video. I'm waiting for the bros to come on, but I want to recap some of what Blow said, right? And during the video, he said that policy goes to the fickle, whom the Democrats feel will fall away. Because I pressed him on that issue, right, with the question, because it was a critique that was coming in from a lot of people, right? Charles Blow is, he's one of them Democrats. Hey, look, I agree. Charles Blow, to me, is one of them Democrats. I've always identified him that way. But when he wrote this book right here, as we say in New York, he stepped out of his body with this one. I suggest, if you haven't read it, read it. Yvette Carnell didn't read this book. She didn't listen to our interview. She didn't listen to any interview that Charles Blow gave. So he wrote this, but he stepped outside of his conventional democratic thinking, and he wrote this book. And look what he calls it, a Black Power Manifesto.
That's right.
And he doesn't mean Black Power in the sense that we might find in the conscious community with brothers waving RBG, red, black, and green flags. He means Black Power as as real power politically in the South, because that's what the book details. So, he said Black people speaking of Stacey Abrams, Black people were the majority of the coalition that put 2 senators into office. For the first time in history, we represented the majority of a coalition. Well, I don't know if he said in history or if he said since Reconstruction. And I know we looked at all of this stuff. It was the first glimpse at what we could do. He didn't say that black people were the reason why, because of our sheer numbers, we got Ossoff and Warnock. He stressed that black people were the majority of the coalition in Georgia. The coalition. And that meant something because usually it's the other way around. So, Brother Ali, give a little recap on, on the interview, on the strategy, and just share with the people your sentiments.
Well, what I'll say about the strategy is this, based on my experience from living in New York, right? Um, Brother Marlon had posted something, and we, if you're watching the news, people are paying attention to the news, you'll know what's going on in New York City, which is a democratically controlled city and state. Um, the first thing that happened here was illegal aliens. And I'm saying illegal aliens. I know people were trying to get at us about some of those people who were seeking asylum at the border saying they weren't illegal aliens. But in this case, illegal aliens were given the ability to acquire driver's licenses in New York. Why is that a problem? Well, it's a problem because there are many people, and Nyhiem, you've mentioned this before. There are many people in New York, black men in particular, in the tri-state area, but specifically New York, who have had driver's licenses suspended for the simple fact that they owe child support arrears. Mind you, many of these illegal immigrants who were granted the privilege of driver's licenses could be deadbeat fathers, could have children in their countries of origin that they're not taking care of.
That's right.
Meanwhile, actual citizens, black Americans who are citizens in this country, whose ancestors contributed much to the existence of this country, will have their driver's license suspended or stripped from them due to child support arrears. Now, that's a problem number one. The second problem came up recently where aliens, whether they're visa holders or green card holders, whatever, the bottom line is they're still aliens. They're foreigners who have allegiances to foreign powers. Are now these people who are in control in New York are fighting for the ability for these foreigners who have allegiances to foreign powers to be able to vote in local and state elections in New York. That's also a problem.
That's
Not
right.
only that, we're going to couple that with the problem that's been here already of gentrification in black neighborhoods. So, for instance, Harlem was known to be a black neighborhood for a very long time, right? Harlem now looks like a third world country in many areas of it. So what we're dealing with is not only gentrification, but we're dealing with an influx of immigrants. Many of them, I guarantee you, are illegal. So now you got these people with driver's licenses, and some of the ones who may not be illegal but are here under visas or green cards, the ability to vote and be recruited by the Democratic Party. So what we're talking about when we're talking about the back home strategy, we're talking about following what is already the trend of black people moving back to the South, where also the majority of black people in this country already live in the South. We're just talking about following the trend and giving it a political intention. In the story, there's nothing crazy about it. Nothing crazy about it. It's just following the natural progression of what's already happening, but giving it a political intention. So that's my particular position on it. And to me, anybody that has a problem with it is a white supremacist.
That's right. And we've said this earlier. Yvette Carnell is a sassy blue vein, white supremacist, point blank, period. And we're going to get into her a little later. So let me address Black Ray. We have black power right now in the Congressional Black Caucus. Let me stop right there. No, we do not. No, we do not. We don't have black power because
And
if let me just say, if you know the political records of these people, then what they do is not black power.
come on.
It doesn't give any energy or current to black power anything. So that's just not true. What you was gonna say, Ali?
And first of all, we got to get real specific with this whole black thing, right? Because blackness is a problem, right? And I know y'all don't agree with us on this, but it's a problem because it masks exactly what we're actually talking about. We're talking about the power of our people who are descendants of those who were enslaved in this country being able to get the power that they need at not only federal, because this person is only speaking about Congress. So that's a federal thing that they're talking about. We're talking about state power. We're talking about local power. There's no way to gain control of the states if you're not there. You have to be there. It's one of them
That's right.
things where you just got to be there.
That's
Okay.
right.
Otherwise, it ain't going to work. You could continue to focus specifically on Congress all you want. But all of those congressmen that are quote unquote black, since you want to do all this stuff under blackness, all these people are not the same as you. Just because you calling them black don't mean they're the same as you, don't mean they have the same intentions, don't mean they have the same agendas, don't mean they have the same anything that you're looking for as freedmen. You understand what I'm saying? So this is really a very specific thing that we're talking about. We're talking about a freedman focused issue. We're not just talking about blackness. So that whole black first thing and black power thing, yeah, that's cute on the surface, but we got to go deeper than that. And that's what we're talking about.
That's right. So let me read this whole quote. We have we have black power right now with the CBC. Again, that's wrong.
That's
I
false.
said that, and Ali just laid it out even plainer with 58 votes in the House. That like anyway. So all us moving to the South and still getting traitorous black lawmakers, how does that work? Like, this is what I'm saying, man. We
That's hopelessness.
provided.
That sounds like hopelessness.
Yes, that's exactly what it sounds like. You know, people
Defeatist.
work avoidance. That's work avoidance, right? And but we've provided a lot of political education and a lot of political strategy on this Be the Power channel for the past over year and a half now. And I don't think somebody that asked that question has been following our channel, follow us on social media. It's, I think this is a sister hitting me up on Twitter earlier.
I saw
with
it.
The same, yeah, you seen it, right? The
it.
same defeatist attitude. And the thing is, we're not saying come back South so that we could elect traitorous black lawmakers.
It definitely presupposes a lot of stuff, and it assumes a lot of things that everything will remain the same.
Yeah.
And if that's your underlying thought in this, then don't do anything. You might as well quit.
Just quit. Give up, man. Go move to Nairobi or Ghana somewhere.
Word, expatriate, man. You know how many people I done told to expatriate, man? Yo, expatriate. If this ain't gonna work, and if you actually working on a defeatist mentality, man, you might as well go West Africa or something.
Out.
Man.
Expatriate, man. Just check out. Check out. So, okay, so Muffet Nellen said that means getting everyone in the black state to have the mindset to be against what black Democrats have done, working against our interests. See, that's black power, freedom power.
And what she's talking about is a fight. Like, let's not act like we don't understand that we're actually in a fight, right? Like, this is all some kind of way it's going to go smooth. That if we toe the Democratic line in federal elections, because that's all anybody seems to really be worried about is federal elections. If we toe the Democratic line, except for, we're just going to not vote for the president, but we're going to do everything Democrat. If we continue to do everything Democrat in federal elections, somehow this shit's going to work out for us. Some kind of way, magically.
That's the Yvette Carnell. That's the Yvette Carnell strategy.
No, that's Man, that's like hocus pocus, man. That's not reality.
That's right. That's not reality at all. That's that Yvette Carnell Democratic down ballot stuff. But we're gonna get to her. We are gonna get to her. We're gonna get to her. So I want to talk about Stacey Abrams. We had a discussion earlier today. Was that today or yesterday, Ali, about Stacey Abrams?
We were talking yesterday when we saw Sister Shayna's post,
Post, that's right.
and today we spoke about it
Mhm.
today as well.
So, this shout out to our sister Shayna down in Atlanta. She tagged us in a post. And we was looking at the links that she shared about things that Stacey Abrams had voted on. So it prompted us, right, to look at her whole record, right? I wanted to see, what her whole record was. And in some senses, don't chew my head off for this one, family. But in some senses, Stacey Abrams represents something symbolically for us as freedmen in the state of Georgia, right? In that you heard what Blow said in the interview we just aired about this majority black coalition that got Warnock, a freedman, and Ossoff, Jewish American, onto a ticket in Confederate Georgia, right? We did that. That was us. That was largely our people insofar as the coalition was concerned. Naturally, white folks outnumber us here, so their votes are going to tend to outnumber us as well. But when you look at what if she gets elected, what that means, especially if that same coalition shows up and shows out, it gives us more of a political outlook for this Black South strategy. Blow highlights that in the book, The Devil You Know. And sure, I believe that Stacey Abrams is a cookie cutter Democrat. She's a Warnock in a dress. It's like just, it is what it is. But we have to put our Friedman lenses on now and view things a little bit differently because we're playing the game of power. There's a lot of components that go in this game called power. Compromise is one of them, right? We don't compromise. We won't compromise anything that has to, like, what's his name? Clyburn is going to compromise the one part of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act that benefits us, which is qualified immunity, just so they could get the whole bill passed, because they know that symbolism means something to black people, that you really don't have to do anything. It's just like the guy, Yellow Pain, can make a video killing up a whole black family. Dave Chappelle could say nigger, but he can't say maggot with an F, right? You can't say that. It's like, yeah, you could say the N-word. Yeah, we don't care about that. You could kill up a black. So they know this, and they play on that. So I hear echo, bro.
You do? Hold on, let me mute out.
But you got a headset on. I don't understand how that in the world I hear the echo. But right. So we gotta look at this thing strategically. We have to look at Stacey Abrams from a strategic perspective, right? What does her win signify to us as freedmen who are pushing this Black South strategy if she is to win? Biden, it was pulled up an article earlier on Biden, and Biden is dragging the whole party down. Now, man, what did I do with that article? I could have sworn I put it in our chat. Biden is dragging the whole party down right now. Nope, that's not it. Okay, Biden's net approval rating hits new low as poll finds infrastructure Build back better build aren't helping. So I'm gonna put that in the chat so everybody can see it. And the reason why I bring that up is because if if Stacey Abrams is able to take Georgia, even with Biden dragging the rest of the party down, we have to look at that as freedmen and understand how to utilize that, not just here in Georgia, but in all of the other target states, specifically like South Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. We have to look at that now and say, okay, even with the top of the ticket dragging on the rest of the party, if she wins, well, maybe we can find a way to take that, what she, everything she did with her nonprofit, registering people to vote, fighting voter suppression in the state, has led up to Warnock and Ossoff being elected in the first place. We start bringing our people back south, we have the coalition that we need to pull our numbers in collectively. And like we said, this is going to be a plan that's going to be over 5, 10, 15 years. It's not something that's going to be overnight, but we have to put our Freeman lens on and look at this thing from a different perspective. What you say to that, Ali?
I agree. It definitely signifies something, and it could be, the start of what it is that we're actually talking about with regard to uh, gaining control over states.
Yeah. So we wanted to touch on that. We wanted to touch on that because we felt that it was important. We pulled up some of her record, and we were looking over it earlier, and the good
Right.
of it, if we can call it good, definitely outweighs the bad. And I just feel that we should look at, especially now that we're trying to do a different form of politics, because we have a real strategy right now, not that bogus Democratic down ballot strategy that Yvette Carnell, Antonio Moore, and the ADOS cult, the hashtag cult, has been propagating for the last several years. So let me see. So I want to get to this. I want to get to her words, y'all.
And there are a number of sites. I was looking at Ballotopia. I was looking at Vote Smart,
Mm-hmm.
where you can go into how she voted, what her positions were, her speeches, her funding, how much money she's raised in different campaigns, all of this different stuff about Stacey Abrams, just to kind of get an overall view of her as a politician, and not just, you know, the negative parts of it, but the whole thing. What is it that she presents as a package, and what has been her record overall, negative and positive. So to make an assessment of who she is, and what to kind of expect from her as a Democrat, right? Number one, who is going to have to contend with um, uh, a state where damn near half the state is, I guess about half the state is Republican. So,
Wait,
um,
wait, hold
yeah,
on, bro. Let me pull up.
uh huh.
Peace to our sister Angela Nirvana. She asked, "Does Stacey Abrams rep Freeman? Does she support reparations?" No,
No,
no, I don't.
I wouldn't say that.
She doesn't, but she's a Freeman.
And
She's a Freeman.
and our family in Georgia need to rep themselves, and they need to support reparations. Now, if they can get her on board once she becomes governor to say, I'm in support of putting together this federal panel, this federal commission, whether it be done through the legislature or whether or not Biden does it through executive action, um, that would be helpful. But because then it would be, we have a governor who's actually willing to support the construction of this particular commission. So
That's right.
that makes it even more powerful than just a bunch of citizens. Now we got a governor of a state who is willing to stand by that position. So right now, no, I don't think she would even run on something like that. I wouldn't expect it. But what I could expect and think is reasonable to expect is for her, if she becomes governor, to say, yeah, I support putting the commission together. Why the hell not?
Mm-hmm. That's right. So, look, we are not, I hope nobody confuses what we're saying over here. We're not saying that we support Stacey Abrams or we're supporting her campaign or any of that. We're not doing politics. I just feel we shouldn't do politics that way anymore. We have to be real strategic about this thing. This thing has to be a well thought out chess game, because that's all it is. It's a game of power. And those of us who are powerless, we've been so used to not playing the game. We've been so used to witnessing the game from the sidelines for so long that we don't understand. I know I speak for myself in this sense, right? We don't understand what we need to do. Now that we have strategies layered on, go to bethepower.org, read our 12-point program. What we're trying to get accomplished with this freedman status and identity is everything. It's everything. You see? So when we look at politics with our freedman lens, when we look at the Black South strategy, everything kind of looks different now. Everything looks different now, and we got to see it that way. We got to just pause for a moment and look and be like, how does this help us? Can this help us in any way with what we're trying to do and bringing our people back south? Because that's the only way we get power. So let's go to Yvette Carnell. Yvette Carnell.
Oh boy.
I'm just getting sick and tired of this person, man. I really am. I'm just getting tired of her. She's become Roland Martin and the rest of them black YouTubers to me. Just go somewhere. But let's let the family hear this. Oh no, wrong one. Wrong one. Hold on. Let's let the family hear this crap that Yvette Carnell, sassy blue vein, is talking about, and the Black South strategy. Let's hear this. I want y'all to listen, fam. This is what you call scorched earth. Oh, them BTP brothers is running with it. I'm a scorched earthy. She doesn't mention. She just goes at Charles Blow all crazy. But anyway, come on, let's go. Let's go.
So let me piggyback off of that then. So to reiterate again what the last lady caller just said, what do you think about the guy Charles Blow, I guess his name, about all ADOS need to move back to the South, and I'm gonna hang up and you can answer.
Thank you.
And then in the chat.
Appreciate it, fam. I would love to answer that. I would love to answer that. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you. It don't make no sense. I think people are coming up with all kind of fantastical ideas. Don't make no sense. And people are talking to them like it makes sense. Well, you want to start, how many times have we moved? Don't call it moving, call it running. Call it running. We have ran and ran and ran. During the Great Migration, we ran. So you're telling us because people don't respect what we do. You're telling us because people don't respect us as human beings. You're telling us because people don't respect our voting and what that's supposed to mean. You're telling us because there's no exchange that we have to once again in this world uproot ourselves and move somewhere else. Not only move somewhere else, move to the South, which is one of the most despicable places for us to live. I live in the South. I know what it looks like. You're telling us, Charles Blow, you don't live here. You live in New York. When are you going to move down here? I'm tired of y'all. You don't get to say that. You're going to move over there in Loudoun County with the people who have hookworm? When are you going to move? You move first and move over there. Well, they ain't got no plumbing. See, for too many of these people, this is why it gets me upset, because I know ADOS people who are poor. Like, that's always been a part of my life. But I just feel like you live up in New York and you go to the coffee shop and you write your columns and you say anything because you're trying to sell a book or you're trying to sell an article. But the solution is never going to be for us to keep running. That's not the solution. And if you come down here and you move down here in massive amounts of numbers, guess what's going to happen? They're going to come up with another rule. You know, Alabama has a lot of, and what is it, Mississippi? Lots of Negroes, but not lots of power. Have you ever looked into why that is? Why we got Negroes in the black belt, they don't have no power? Because it's not just about numbers, it's about laws. It's about Jim Crow laws that are still in the books. Are you down there helping them write that off the books? No, you're just talking. I'm tired of theory. And I'm tired of theories from people. I don't care where you live before you went to New York. I'm tired of theories from people who don't live in these places and are not willing to relocate their damn self. If you ain't willing to move to Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia, shut up. You move first. Goodness.
All right. I don't even listen to that chick no more. My skin just was crawling. It just felt like 1,000 ants was just crawling up my body, having to listen to this horrible, wicked individual again. And let me respond to this Eddie clown that's in the chat. He said Yvette lives rent free over here, but I get it. She brings in views. Our views are the same. Every platform. We barely talk about this demon on our channel because that's exactly what she is, a demon, and we have to address what she's saying because we're proposing something that's radical so that we can have power. And we're going to address some of the things that she said, like what power. One of the things that Blow stressed in the interview was that, and I wrote this stuff down, right? 90% of the black cities are in the South. Almost all of those cities have black mayors. Atlanta became a majority black city in the 1970s. Maynard Jackson, if you understand his story and what he did with them unions out there when they were building that airport, like he had the power to shut them down and let them know that these contracts not moving unless my people out here get a slice of it. That's what you call power, Yvette Carnell, because your Democratic down ballot strategy is bogus. Look at the name of it. Democratic down ballot. You're still voting for the Democrats. Yvette Carnell is nothing more than a rolling Martin. She's a Bernie bro. What did you say earlier, Ali? Break that down, socialist. I'm gonna pull up what you got.
Yeah, I said that the down ballot Democratic strategy is not a black strategy. It's not. See, it doesn't even mention the word black. It's not a black power strategy. It's none of that. The best that they could come up with is, to help us save certain social programs like welfare and different things that Republicans may want to cut some of. So they're talking about keeping people on these bottom level programs that allows them to just get by, right? It's not a power program. It's not a power maneuver. It's something to help them maintain the status quo. And it's not something specifically for black people. It's something that is really a social based maneuver. That down ballot Democrat thing is a social based maneuver because all of the things that the Democrats are talking about are social based programs, social based legislation, and even immigrant leaning legislation and policy. So that's what down ballot Democrat is something to support them in their maneuvers to continue to box you out. That's what that is. It's a social based maneuver to help the Democrats continue to box you out. That's what that is. It has nothing to do with black power. It's not no black agenda. It doesn't have anything to do with reparations. It doesn't have anything to do with any of that. She is misinformed. Wait till we pull up. Wait till we pull up this, Roz, because remember, she just said this man don't live in Atlanta.
I want to get to that, bro. Just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. She called the South the most despicable place. I got to pull my sister's comment back up. Angela Nirvana says it's about laws and being neutralized economically. I agree with Yvette Carnell.
Yeah,
Okay.
but how do you change the law? How do you
That
change
is
the laws of Alabama if you're not
That's
there?
right. That's
That's
right.
all I'm saying, because it's
That's
not
right.
federal law, right? It's not the
That's right.
CBC making the oppressive laws of the state of Alabama or the
That's right.
state of Tennessee or any of them places.
Yvette
It's those
Carnell is
state.
wrong.
It's
Yvette
those
Carnell
state.
is wrong. She's
That's a
wrong.
fact.
So if you look at the strategy, Sister Angela Nirvana, matter of fact, hold on, let's do this. Let's do this because we like to address wrong stuff, and sometimes the family come up, and we got to challenge the family too. It is what it is. But Yvette Carnell is wrong. You're agreeing with something that don't make sense in regards to the plan. Now let's pull this up.
Bam.
November 8th, 2021.
Come on.
Federal infrastructure bill won't address Jackson water crisis without help of who? State leaders.
Come
Who?
on, brother.
State
This is
leaders. Like Ali said, the CBC can't do nothing about this. What happens now when you go to Mississippi? Because it only takes 700,000 of our people to move into Mississippi for us to take over that whole state. There are millions of us outside of the state of Mississippi. What happens when 700,000 of us move into Mississippi? Now we elect the governor. We elect 2 senators that represent I think we probably could do. Well, no, one would run on the party. Well, we would control the probably the Democratic senator. I want to start my own party. I'm tired of the Democrats as much as I'm tired of the Republicans, but that's another conversation. Now you get to control the state houses. Now you get to move in all of these places they've been trying to gerrymander for years. Now you got this governor that gets to do things at the executive level for our people. Now the Jackson water crisis, which is as bad as Flint's was, gets remedied. That's what the plan is for. So Yvette Carnell is wrong. She's not right. I don't understand how anybody could agree with that, because the laws that neutralizes the people is coming from the Confederates based on the fact that we don't have the political numbers there. It's just as simple as that. The same way nationally, we can't even get a police bill, a police reform act passed because we don't have the political numbers like everybody else. It's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. Everybody else are pretty much labeled under whiteness. They get to share ethnicities, white and Hispanic. They get to share those things. They get to pad those numbers. So in the federal election, we get to get boxed out. But either way, in a state where we are the predominant demographic, we win. We win. We fix this right here. Yeah, you could pull that back up, Ali. I had to go in on that. She's wrong. She's wrong. She didn't read the book. She doesn't care about the strategy. She doesn't care about anything.
She doesn't care about the actual trend.
And she's a demon. She's a demon to me.
The trend is already going that way. So I don't know how much you can, if this is something that the family could see, because I want you to remember, she went on her little tirade talking about that this man doesn't even live in the South, that he is a resident of New York City. He may maintain a New York City resident. I don't know. But back in November of 2020, let me know if I got to make this bigger. And you all can go to his Instagram page and see it for yourself. 52 weeks ago, this was like in November of 2020. He puts this up. It's done. I just closed on a condo in Atlanta. I told myself I was going to wait a year, got to know the city, and buy next year. But I saw this place and fell in love. I had to have it. And now I do. Now to renovate and decorate. This picture is taken from my terrace. So this is him on his terrace in Atlanta in November of 2020. This video that she made talking about this man don't even live down here was like a couple of weeks ago. This dude been down there since November 2020.
Been down here for the longest. Come on, man.
And you don't just agree with her just to be agreeing with her, man, just because you got love for her. I think a lot of people just still got love for this girl in their heart, but at
Yeah,
the
that's
end of the
what it
day,
is.
man, that ain't about that.
That's what it is.
Ain't about that.
She's a demon to us. She's a demon, a devil. Can't nobody convince us otherwise.
That's my
Period.
phone.
So I mean, like it is what it is. So you don't like it, nobody don't like it. I mean, it is what it is. So look, we
I
have a
can't talk to him right
strategy.
now. I'm on this live.
Yeah,
Just let it ring.
You ain't
Thank
mute, Ali.
My bad.
Yeah, Ibrahim trying to come on, but it's not. He's not. His something. He's having some. No. See. Come on. This is what I'm talking about. We gotta, this is why we do this platform, and why we're not just running off and just jumping on every little plan or every little idea that comes up or any little crazy number that somebody throws out there. So our sister asked, then why haven't we taken over the state if we are the majority in some of these southern states? We're not the majority in any state, sister. We're not the majority in any state. I just played the Charles Blow interview that we aired about 7 months ago.
We're gonna
I
have to
urge
keep
you all
playing that.
to go back. Yeah, we're gonna have to keep playing that. Matter of fact, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. Let's play a clip from that video. This is what I'm
Right. Radical conversation. No, that's literally right now, 90% white people. But if you take the population of all those states, put them together, they're only 1/4 the population of black people in this country. It's not about your scale. People say, well, black people can't think they're gonna have that much power. They're only 14% of the population. Scale has nothing to do with it.
That's right.
Those people in those 6 or 7 states represent only 3% of the American population, but they also represent 1 out of every 6 Senate votes ever cast on any issue.
Wow.
What you have to do is decide if you want to be strategically arrayed in America rather than completely spread out. And there's a balkanization of this country that's coming whether I wrote this book or not. It's happening. In 30 years from now, 6, 7, 8 of the southwestern states will be majority Hispanic, not majority brown, not majority minority, majority Hispanic. They will send whatever delegation they want to Washington, and they should. They will control all those electoral college votes, and then that's the way it breaks. Hawaii will continue to be majority Asian, South Pacific Islander, and they will send people representing that demographic to Congress as they do now. Oregon, Washington, down into the Rockies will continue to be majority white. Everything east of that will be some combination of majority white and majority minority. There is not a single state on that map 30 years from now that is projected to be majority black. Now, black people just have a choice to make. As I've been going in this book, I keep saying, I'm not twisting you on. I'm saying, do you want state power or not?
That's right.
Because you can have it. It has nothing to do with your scale. Has nothing to do with you being 40% of the population. It has to do with where do you want to literally position yourself in the country, because you can have that power.
Now, look, brother Ibrahim is on now, but I want to do something first. I want to go to the book. I want to go to the book, right? Let me see. All right, you know what? I'm not gonna read. I'm not gonna read it. I'm gonna touch on. And Blow spoke about this. I'm not gonna read it. He spoke about this in our interview. In the state of Vermont, it's so funny. I've been sharing stories about how my life has intersected with certain things and certain people for the past 20-something years. I'm talking about, it's been amazing me putting all of those different pieces together, how it has all interwoven into this connectivity thing when it comes to myself. So I was talking to my father a couple weeks ago, and I was telling him about the Black South strategy. And I told, he was asking some questions, and I brought up Vermont because Charles Blow lays it out in his book, The Devil You Know, about how these hippies literally they had a plan that they were going to take over a whole state, an act of radical federalism. And they moved to the state of Vermont. And over the course of some years, they took over the state of Vermont. So I was telling my father about this. And the light bulb just goes off in his head, right? Like ding, 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 ding. Yo, God. Because we 5%ers. I was born 5%ers. Peace to the gods, peace to the earths. He said, yo, God, when I was a young 5%er, we used to travel to Connecticut, Massachusetts, et cetera, et cetera. We used to go teach. He said, so one place where we used to teach at in Massachusetts, I can't remember the name of the place, the city. He said there were encampments of all of these white hippies. He said, I don't know what it was about us. He said they loved to hear the 5%ers speak. They loved to hear the gods speak. He said, so one day I just decided to ask, what the hell are all of y'all doing in these encampments with all of these tents? And he said they started to tell him that they were moving to Vermont. So when I told him that, it clicked. The bell just went off in his head like, yo. I was like, yeah, well, if that's obviously it was the 70s. So that's when they, were completing their migration pattern into the state. I was like, yeah, that's what was going on. But my father said it. He said, we used to go speak at some place in Massachusetts, and they had all of these camps, these encampments, and they would go, am I saying the right word, encampment? I think I am. They were all moving to Vermont. And so, my pops, he was kind of like thrown by that. It was like when I told it to him, and I was like, yeah, now they control the state. Now Bernie Sanders and some other guys, the longest reigning, Blow got it in his book, one of the longest reigning elected politicians is in from that state, and Bernie Sanders is well on his way. That's power. Yvette Carnell running.
It's not running, man. Come on.
We're returning.
It's not running.
Yvette, we are returning. We were ran out. First by acts of domestic terrorism.
Come on.
State-sanctioned terrorism. First and foremost. Ran out. Then we left because we had no economic opportunities. The only thing available to us was basically this continued pattern of sharecropping. So about the 50s and the 60s, we started another wave of this migration, which lasted well into the 70s. What are you talking about? Well, not well into the 70s, but, in the early 70s. What are you talking about, Yvette? You just want to have a scorched earth policy on anything that you didn't think of or you came up. You have no plan. And if you do, we invite you to come on. I'll take your insufferable tone and everything else to come on the platform right now, or we'll do you one better. We'll come on your platform and debate you on it because we have things that we can point to with our strategy that we're proposing. What do you have, Yvette? What do you have to show? You a Bernie bro. Like I said, you're nothing more than a Roland Martin, and we're growing tired of you. And I think that people need to start looking at this person for what she is, her and Tone. Start looking at them for what they are. They're grifters, point blank, period. They offer nothing but political commentary week after week. And you could say we hating and Or I don't care. You could, like, we're analyzing it for what it is. If you're worried about the hookworms in Lowndes County in Alabama, where we are, let's pull the numbers up. Matter of fact, let's pull some numbers up. That's what we're gonna do. Let's pull some numbers up. These people don't have no ideas. They're just talking, man. You're tired of these people, right? So this is the black demographics of the African American population by state. Let me see. I'm kind of wary of this website too, because they mix in a lot of crazy stuff. Like they'll include 16-year-olds as single men. So I'm kind of wary with this site. So I just pulled it up because it came up. But like, let's look at some of these numbers, right? Look at Texas. Let's look at the top of this list. Texas has more black people than Georgia. More black people than Georgia. But we only represent 14. Oh, no, that's interracial. So I'm looking at the wrong side. Let's just strictly stick to this side right here. Black alone.
It says 12%.
Interracial. Huh?
It says 12%.
12%, right? And they still out 3.5 million to 3.3 million. But in Georgia, we represent 31% of the population. In Texas,
Facts.
we represent 12%. That's why we want our people to come from out of Texas as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know people got roots in these places, but
look at California, man. California is like
from being born there. What you said, Ali?
So look at California. That shit's crazy.
Yeah, let's go to California. California has almost 3 million black people. Out of what? What was the number?
Well, it's only according to this, it's only like 2.2.
Oh no, I'm looking at the interracial thing. My bad. Thank you, Ali, for bringing me back to the side I'm supposed to be looking at. 6% of the population, 2 million people. Well, let's get out of Cali. If those 2 million people went back to Mississippi, the people in California are largely from Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Largely Mississippi and Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. Louisiana and Texas as well. I think Texas plays a part, but they're only 6% of that population. What happens if they moved back and they split up between Louisiana, 1.1 million, and Mississippi, another 1.1 million? We take over the state. This is simple mathematics. This is simple mathematics. And I didn't even know Illinois had that little black population, 1.8 million at only 14%. Let's go to New York.
Yeah, I think New York was up. I think you passed it.
Did I pass it? Okay, there we go. New York has 2.9 million black people, and they're only 15% of that population. I think these numbers are old. I've seen some updated numbers, so I don't know if these are true numbers.
And see, I have a question for the people who are trying to tell folks to stay put and continue to vote for Democrats, right? When you let's take my state, New York, for instance. Let's use that as an example, because I would love for them to explain to me a city that's being used as a sanctuary city for illegal immigrants, etc., right? That they want to give the right to vote to immigrants, aliens, foreigners, driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. What is it that the blacks in New York City, who are losing population count with the influx of immigrants, with the democratic controlled state being such that they want to empower illegal aliens as well as green card holders and visa holders in order to access the electorate so that they can vote for these policies that box out black Americans? What is it you're supposed to be achieving by staying put and consistently voting for the people who are actively working against you in a state that's dealing with an immigrant influx, as well as this god damn, man, I just lost the word, man, when you trying to change the community, right? What are they doing with all of the white people coming into the community?
Gentrification.
Gentrification. I keep thinking gerrymandering, but gentrification
Hey,
is
that
the
was the
word.
first word that was about to come out my mouth.
Right.
Gerrymandering.
So forgive me, y'all. Y'all knew what I was saying. So we're dealing with a gentrification issue, as well as this influx of immigrants, as well as the Democrats trying to empower the immigrants, the illegal ones, to be able to outvote you in anything that you're concerned with. So how does staying put and voting Democrat fix that? I would love for somebody to break that down to me. See, we can use New York as an example, because New York is the ones who is trying to lead the way in this thing of giving illegal aliens, not illegal aliens, giving green card holders or foreigners the
They
access to
illegal
the
aliens
electorate.
to me.
So if somebody could, who is a proponent of this down ballot Democratic thing, right, explain to me how that fixes the positionality of Black Americans, the freedmen in New York City, by us staying put and voting for the Democrats who are trying to do you in. Explain to me how that works. How does it fix it? I want to hear the breakdown. I don't want to hear nothing about she's right. I want to hear how it fixes the situation in New York. Explain it. I want to hear the details.
And that's what I'm saying. Let's get, like, because we could end this whole debate.
Show me how it fixes it. That's all.
We could end this whole debate. We'll come on Yvette Carnell's channel, Trial by Combat. Choose your champion. We choose violence. Stop playing with us, man. You can't win this debate with us, Yvette. In no way, shape, form, or fashion. And you mad because we came on the scene and we outbrained you. The plan was never to do that. The plan was to simply grow with the movement. But the freedmen ancestors, they were the wind beneath our wings, telling us that person ain't right, y'all. And we gonna show y'all. And they showed us that she's not right, that Antonio Moore is not right. These people are not right. They've made a way of grifting off of you with your donations week after week after week after week. And that's all it is content creating. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
let's. I
want to. I was just going to say,
go ahead, bro.
It's not like the Democrats is fucking around with her, right? It's not like she has any power within that particular party. So I don't even understand why anybody would take her lead. She has no Black family. She's not a mother to any Black children. She doesn't have a Black husband. And I know a lot of y'all might think this doesn't mean anything, but it means everything. How in the hell is somebody who doesn't even have a Black family try to tell Black families what they should be doing? You don't even have any invested interest in what a family should be doing. You don't even have one of your own.
That's right.
How the hell you think you get the right to tell somebody what you tired of and try to tell somebody where they need to move and what county they need to move in and try to help somebody? How come you ain't there helping those people? You said you in the South. You say you act like you got all of the answers to everything. So how come you're not over there in that county helping those people?
That's right.
Whatever the hell the problem is, as opposed to talking about what Charles Blow needs to do coming from New York City. You said you in the South.
Because he was in the Moorish movement, we used to say you got to be the message that you bring. Well, he moved to Atlanta. He been
the message
moved to Atlanta. Yvette Carnell lives in her own bubble, in her own echo chamber. And that's all she hears is praise from her supporters. That's it. That's what it's about. So
it's a YouTube thing, man. Like
that's it.
And I get it, right? You on YouTube, you can go there and talk, and people amen everything that you're saying and all of that. But you bringing up real issues. So if you think there's a problem in a county that needs to be fixed by somebody, how come you, who is in the South, aren't over there helping those people to fix whatever problem it is that they have? Don't talk about Charles Blow. Be the message that you bring. Be about that shit. Don't just be on YouTube talking about it.
That's right. So let me see. This is an interesting. Certain states would be red if not for blacks. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Ohio. These are red states, Patrick. I don't see, people are looking at the general election and white folk that got tired of Trump, coupled with these high black population areas in these states, and they're just like I don't know, man. Y'all got to go back and watch our content, maybe from the beginning. Watch our content, especially, or maybe past the ADOS stuff. Yo, I want to do this real quick, Ali. I want to get to some of this list. Brother Mark Stevenson said something in the chat. You was almost right, brother Mark Stevenson. You was almost right. But you said per capita, Georgia has the per capita, like Georgia has more black people than Louisiana, 3.3 million. Louisiana only has 1.4 million, but per capita, Louisiana has more, 31.4% over Georgia's 31%. But I mean, that's a relative tie, right? Margin of error, give or take, et cetera, et cetera. The number one state with a black population comparable to its white population, or I guess population in general, but we know that means white population, is Mississippi. Like I said, imagine if 1.1 million people left California alone and went back to Mississippi, just alone. I ain't even talk about Chicago, where a lot of people from Chicago are from Mississippi, and Detroit. Like 700,000 black people in Mississippi. We take over that state, family. And I just want to go through this a little bit. 31% in Louisiana. We did the numbers on one show. I don't know. I should have did the numbers on how much we would need to get majorities in the, well, I mean, I guess you could kind of tell whatever gets us to 50%, right? Washington, D.C., we're 41.4%. Before the proposal of making it a state, Blow speaks about it in his book, right? Or right, I believe that's page 44. Matter of fact, on page 32, he said, considered another way, 44% of black people in America now live outside the South. Well, that means 66% of us live in the South. That's where our majority is at, Yvette Carnell. We're not running, we're coming back home. What you talking about? However, hypothetically speaking, if just half of them, 22%, moved back south and were strategically arrayed, it would be enough to make black people the largest racial group in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. A contiguous band of black power that would upend America's political calculus and exponentially increase black political influence. That is plain as day. Somebody, when y'all call into Yvette Carnell's show, because somebody's going to, press her on this. Press her. Well, if the numbers show that if 22% of our people moving back to the South will give us control over Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, shouldn't we focus on that? What is the bad idea about that plan? Speaking of Lowndes County, well, what happens if, where's Alabama out on this list? Alabama is 25.5%. And like I said, I should have just did all of the numbers. 25.8, excuse me. 25.8%. Number 7 on the list of black demographics. So that's 1.296 million. So roughly 2 million. So, I mean, what happens if another 1.5, 1.6, maybe 1.8? What happens if another let's leave it there. 1.8 million of our people come back into Alabama. We push our numbers, if my math in my head is correct, past the 50% threshold. And within a few years, we take control of the state. And when we take control of the state, we rewrite the laws. We now can hold our own constitutional conventions, Yvette.
Come on.
Y'all see, y'all are not looking at politics. Y'all got this Bernie bro who's an Yvette Carnell, who's really a Democrat. She's a bleeding heart Democrat. Don't let her fool you, or else she wouldn't be pushing this Democratic down ballot strategy. Trick y'all with mere rhetoric and sister girl sass. Oh, y'all. He told Charles Blow, when the last time you wrote a good article? Well, he just wrote a good article a couple months ago about this very thing that we're talking about. It was an excellent article. Excellent. What are you talking about? Now you are in control of the state. You call a constitutional convention, and guess what? Most of the delegates there are going to be us. They're going to be freemen, suited and booted, rewriting the Constitution, writing out those, abrogating those Jim Crow laws that are still in those states, Yvette. You have no other strategy. Democratic down ballot does what? Explain it. All of y'all, because I know y'all in the chat. I know y'all.
Well, it keeps welfare program. They're going to say it keeps welfare programs in place. It'll keep Obamacare in place. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. That's the kind of shit that they come at us with. That's the only thing I've ever heard. It's never going to tell me how it fixes the problem of immigration in New York, or
That's
how
right.
it fixes the problem of gentrification in a place like New York. It doesn't tell me anything about that. It doesn't tell me about all of them homeless people out there in Los Angeles, how it's going to fix that. It doesn't say anything about that. It doesn't say how it empowers those people to
That's
get
right.
out of those tents. It doesn't say anything about that.
That's right.
But
Nothing.
welfare, you'll keep some welfare in place. That ain't a black program. Welfare is not a black program. It'll keep some Obamacare in place. Obamacare is not a black program.
That's
So these
right.
are this down ballot Democrat thing, especially y'all that think y'all want some kind of specific policies. It doesn't guarantee you no specific policy. The only thing you're gonna be talking about is welfare and Section 8 and Obamacare. That's all you're gonna be talking about.
One of the things that Blow stressed in our interview was New York. New York, his stressing of New York was great. And the New York Times, this piece that they did about 2 weeks ago that we broke down here
This
on
is a
our
good
platform.
article.
Yeah, this is a very good. Matter of fact, let me put this in the chat. I know some of you might hit a paywall. Y'all know the New York Times. They trying to.
The piece that really stood out to me was what de Blasio said as to why he doesn't think it's a good idea, and I think it was another Republican politician who expressed why it wasn't a good idea for this to happen. The two statements that they made about why it shouldn't happen is very good, and it exemplifies what we're talking about in terms of how this Democratic down ballot thing will not do anything to fix
That's right.
this kind of problem for blacks who live in New York City, because this is a problem.
Mr. de Blasio, speaking at a news conference on Tuesday, said he would not veto the legislation, but he expressed concern that the bill would undermine the value of citizenship.
Come on.
If it dissuaded residents from seeking it. Mr. de Blasio, a Democrat, also said he believes only the state legislature can grant non-citizens the right to vote, a view many experts dispute. Well, I guess those are New York City experts. And my thing is, like, the 15th Amendment, I don't know, man.
But see, it says that the states are where the states control who can vote. And I don't think de Blasio is wrong about that. According to the Constitution, the states control how the voting system goes. It ain't really the city, the city legislative body like that. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. That thing is supposed to be controlled by the state.
And that's why I brought up the 15th Amendment. I'm gonna leave that one alone. But so I want to pull up this comment. This comment was just crazy to me, man. So this person, 42 Tribe, says a 90+ book club and an advocacy movement is more than just content.
Man, fuck the book club,
What
yo.
more is it?
Listen, man. Who gives a goddamn about a book club, yo? Like, real talk. We talking about politics. We talking about people's real lives, not some nigga sitting behind a computer reading a fucking book. Like, what are you talking about, man? That's some old nut shit, man. What are you talking about? A 90-something book club. Who gives a fuck?
Oh, man. Come on, people. Like, come on. We got to break out of this, family. We got to break out of this cult mentality worship that we have, always looking for a Messiah. Then this person, she is exactly what she accuses everybody else of being, loud and wrong. Yvette Carnell is loud and wrong. Like, stop listening to her. People should just stop listening to her. You only listen to her for entertainment value. And that's it. She learned that sister girl sass. She wasn't talking like that when she was a Bernie bro. She wasn't. She wasn't saying that stuff. She was saying that reparations looks much like what Bernie Sanders proposed. You could check my record on reparations. I've been saying our people need reparations. Never like what Bernie Sanders was talking about. Like my brother Ali said, the Democratic down ballot strategy is some class-based nonsense based on the class-based policies that Yvette Carnell wants to push as a captured Democrat. She's a centrist, in my opinion. She's a centrist. She's Joe Manchin to me. She's Joe Manchin, period. So somebody, Sister Shanna says, what's the purpose of reading 90 books if it's not being applied? Thank you, Sister Shanna. What the hell is the purpose of reading all of them books? I don't get it. Sister Tansy says something interesting. She said, in each state, we need to get freedmen on immigration boards. We need representation on those boards. And this is what I'm saying. Like, we get so many people trying to fight against us at Be the Power, right? You know, we're men. And like, we got to be honest with ourselves. A lot of people are not used to men leading anymore. We've fallen away from that. And so some people, you know, they look at us, they see that alpha energy and how it oozes through the microphone and through their screens. And some people become turned off by it. So they go with safe people like, or what they think is safe people like Yvette Carnell. They go with people like that. She can't break down lineage to me because she stopped hers. She stopped hers, period. She can't break it down to me. Only the people that understand family, that have family and live family can break that down to me. I can't listen to nobody like that tell me about lineage. Like we stress here on this platform, freedman is not your lineage. Freedman is your status. Your lineage goes through your last name all the way up through slavery. Yeah, go ahead, Ali.
No, I was just going to agree. I was going to agree with what you're saying here, about the whole lineage thing. It's not a. It's we're never saying that freedman is a lineage. We never said that, suggested it, or anything. So don't even misconstrue that. ADOS is a pseudo lineage for you all that think it's a lineage. It's pseudo, but you could claim it if you want.
Facts. So, you know, we had to get on here tonight. We had to go in. Peace to our sister BTP. Riri is in the building. What's going on, sis? I'm glad you're on. You know, we let me see. Brother Josh in the chat. Shout out to BTP Josh. He said at 42, that's what it said. But then the action is cult creation. And that's all it is. Create a cult-like following. Use the cat paws. Like, it's just the whole book of the 48 Laws of Power. Because if Yvette Carnell said, I challenge Nyhiem or Ali or Logic or Josh of BTP or Ibrahim or Ty Harper to a debate, any of these people, everybody's gonna run to that debate. Like, what's up? We right here. What's up? What's going on? Where the link at? Let's get it in. We're calling Yvette Carnell out to a debate. Our platform or yours? Your Democratic down ballot strategy versus our Southern strategy. Let's see who can produce, number one, something tangible insofar as this is what happened and it benefited a specific group of people in a specific way. That's number one. Two,
Georgia.
just as an ideological, right? Just even in theory. Let's debate it in theory. Democratic down ballot. So if you don't want to do it, send one of your minions. Send that soft dude Reggie from Boston. Send one of them guys.
This, though. Peep this. The state that she lives in.
Mm-hmm. The South is
has a black senator now.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Regardless of how you feel about him, he's there in part because of the population. Because of the population count and the fact that they were able to utilize their votes to push past the Republican stronghold in that state. They were able to, if they didn't have the votes, meaning the people, the population, the demographic, if they didn't have it, they would not be able to have installed this black senator. Same thing with Stacey Abrams if she wins. If she wins this time, it'll be because of the population count that is there now that might not have been there 20 years ago.
Facts.
So this is a real-time example of what this thing can produce right in her very state. So it's not even a theoretical thing. We can look at what's already happened. I don't care if you don't like Stacey Abrams. What's already happened? What's already happened with the black senator there? It's already happened. That's the example. You can't show me how down ballot Democrat is going to help black freedmen in New York City deal with gentrification and the influx of immigrants being empowered to have access to the vote. You can't tell me how it's going to fix that.
That's right.
I would love for any of them to say it. Don't talk to me about no book club. Tell me how it's going to fix that.
That's right. And you got the 42 tribes is not stopping. Said it is being applied with the down ballot as a strategy, which then forces hands. If we voted but made Biden lose, it would. So basically, let's let the Republican win at the presidency, but then vote for the Democrats to keep the House. How did that work?
Right. So that the Republican can do what Donald Trump did and install all of these judges all over the country so that when you go up against them the way Byron Allen did, he can lose this time.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
That don't make no sense.
Smart.
Don't make no sense. Come on. I'm just saying, look, man. Okay, let me see. What was the other one? 42 tribes said if we voted down ballot at Obama rates, the Republicans would consider reparations. I'm not even pulling up no.
He's just making up stuff on the fly.
Just making up stuff. Like I gotta make my cult leader look right some way in this chat because Yvette can't come on and make an argument. We'll send the link.
Just making it up as they go along.
Making it up as they go along. We deal with people like that regularly. Let me see. Sister Tansy says she's not about that action. She's too busy trying to be the next intellectual. She's jealous of Nicole Hannah-Jones. What is she written
Oh, man, come on.
Dr. she's always attacking Dr. Darity. Her and Mushmouth Tone over there, always attacking Dr. Darity. Always. But Dr. Darity has a whole book on reparations, the premier manual on reparations, point A to point Z, from here to equality, from where we are now as a people, which is who knows what our wealth positionality is because of COVID right now.
And let me just add
inflation.
To that. Let me just add to that. Whether you agree with the numbers that Dr. Darity is using as the base, the 14 trillion, whatever the case is, whether you agree with the numbers or not, the work is there. you see that he did the work, right? He manifested that. It's not a YouTube video. It's the actual work.
That's right.
Actual work is there.
It's
So you
there.
can you don't have to agree with the numbers. No two people gonna necessarily agree on everything. But I'm just saying the work is there. He has the track record. So you can talk about him all you want. You don't have the work.
That's right. And then she attacked Ta-Nehisi Coates because she was a Bernie bro pushing Bernie Sanders' social-based politics for black people.
She attacked Claude Anderson. You don't have to agree with everything Claude Anderson says. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he says, but I never felt the need to attack the man. You understand what I'm saying? It's a whole bunch of people she attacked that wasn't necessary, and that shit came back to bite her in the ass. And she is, like Sister Tansy said, she is jealous of Nicole Hannah-Jones. And Nicole Hannah-Jones didn't bite nothing from no fucking what's the name of their little thing? The project, the Angela Project. Ain't nobody nothing from no damn Angela Project. Ain't nobody bite nothing from that stupid shit, man.
I know Dr. Darity would probably regret it. I ain't trying to speak for the man, but I know he probably regretted going to that nonsense while everything was going on with that reparations, that first reparations hearing in Washington, man. It's like
he had to regret it, man.
Had to regret that. Like
that was never mind. I'm just saying,
man, because you just following behind the devil and you're gonna get burned in some kind of way. And now this chick, she so bitter, she just can't stop attacking the man. Like that man ain't even thinking about you. That man trying to do reparations. You trying to figure out what your next show gonna be so you can make another $800 on a super chat. You shut up, Yvette. Go sit down somewhere. You loud and you wrong. Period. Go sit down somewhere. You one of the people you've been talking about for all of these years. We just on to you. Ain't nobody else gonna call you out but us. And that's why they don't like us, and we don't care. Because some of these people, and some of them is still they're in our chat right now, they still rock with this person, and they don't care that this person is a devil. Some of them can't let go to ADOS stuff.
And some of them got shitted on by some of them got shitted on by her.
Let that crap go. We freedmen. Period. We're freedmen. Let it all go, fam. We're freedmen. Just let it go. I ain't trying to like shoot at nobody in that sense, but like, come on. Just let that stuff go. It just shows that you can't let go of it and that you still need somebody to hold your hand through YouTube, through a few tweets here and there, coming out of a sassy mouth. That's not politics, family. It's not politics, man. So, see, look, this, you know what? I'm not even pulling up no more of this 42-person tribe. Get out of here. Get out of here.
This nigga's trolling, man.
She's trolling. Yeah, so, I mean, it is what it is,
Ain't no way that someone like that, and I'm sorry, I don't care who has a problem with it. There's no way that some confused individual like that is leading me and my family nowhere. I don't give a
That's right.
I don't give a fuck, man. You ain't leading me nowhere.
Facts. But this comment by Patrick Tyler caught my attention. I'm from Detroit. The entire city council backed Biden and the same agenda as the National Dems. LGBT, climate, and immigration. In Detroit, Dem down ballot, huh? That's what I'm saying.
Come on.
Any of these people, let me, my brother Shannon, shout out to the Freeman Media, says, say soft Reggie again. Let's get that soft dude, Reggie from Boston, to come on the platform because we had him on before when everything was all cool and debate Democratic down strategy. Jakari Arthur, matter of fact, right? Let's get any one of these people that rocks with this hashtag cult to come on this platform and debate Democratic down ballot strategy. And when I say Jakari Arthur, what is he, like the councilman out of Kentucky? I think
in Louisville.
Kentucky. City councilman, I believe he is.
Yeah.
Jakari Arthur, come on, we calling you out. Come show and prove. Come debate Democratic down ballot strategy versus the Black South strategy. Let's see if you could articulate it better than Reggie from Boston or any, because you're a political official. You should, out of anybody, be able to come on here and simply shut us down. Tone, Antonio Moore, we're calling you out. Matter of fact, you the big fish, right? Come on the platform, or we'll come on your platform and let's have the debate. Sick. Other than that, man, y'all just need to shut up about reparations, man. Somebody sent me a screenshot. Tone is doing like black relations. I guess he's trying to jump into Kevin Samuels lane or something. I don't know what he's trying to do, but stay over there, bro. This ain't for you. We got this. Be the Power got this. The sisters is starting their thing up on our other channel, the BTP Media Group channel. Y'all make sure y'all check that out. Go subscribe. Last night, Sister Ross, Sister Natalie, and Brother Logic had a powerful discussion on Second Amendment and gun rights among the freedmen, gun ownership, gun safety. Y'all make sure y'all go check that video out. That video was powerful. Make sure y'all subscribe to that channel. We're going to just keep growing. We got this. The freedmen, those that are real and serious about reparations. We got this. So, Brother Ali, man.
Yeah. I mean, I maintain my question. I have a very pointed, particular question about New York City, which has over 2 million Black Americans. Now, they're not all American Black, but we'll say they're Black Americans living in this city, right? And you have a large number of freedmen in this city. But you have an influx of immigrants who are being empowered by the Democrats to access the electorate. At the same time, we're dealing with gentrification. I need somebody to explain to me how Democratic down ballot fixes this as a problem, as it is a problem for Black Americans in New York City.
That's right. But our sister Roz asked the question, do you have the link where she said reparations based on race is a non-starter? I do. It just so happened that our brother Logic just reshared this earlier. And he put it in the inbox and I happened to retweet it and said, we don't forget. So let's do that. Because one thing you're never going to find from Nyhiem, Lord Abba, is me talking about reparations as some class-based nonsense. I got a video going back to 2011 right on this channel. I've always talked about reparations being in the form of cash payments. So let's hear what Yvette got to say. I can't stomach listening to her, but, for the sake of showing the people that this person is a hypocrite, let's go.
Before you play.
Go ahead, bro.
Before you play it, right? So, number one, we're talking about her because she made a specific comment and we're addressing the comment, right? That's only a part of what we talked about. I know it's like a bunch of feminine dudes in here talking and shit in the chat, talking about, they still talking about Yvette, these dudes, Lord, right? These niggas sound like some church women talking about Lord, right?
Lord.
Right? Some old church women. These niggas running around here like church women. So we're talking about her because she made specific comments about this strategy, and we're talking to our audience about what it is that we think is wrong about what she was saying. If you don't like it, bounce, nigga. That's number one.
That's all you gotta do. Get out of here.
Number two, just because all Black people, the majority of Black people are registered Democrats, doesn't mean that a Democratic down ballot voting pattern is some kind of a fucking Black power strategy. Because obviously it ain't. It hasn't produced. It hasn't produced.
You want
nothing.
The link? 42 tribes. Do you want the link? I could put the link in the chat, and you could come on. I will give you a couple minutes to come on and show and prove, because you saying we just making stuff up. Down ballot Democrat, it was not for all Democrats, and it was not just for Biden. What was it for? Because she said when asked, if you don't see nobody you like, just vote for the dog catcher. Well, what policy does the dog catcher pass at the state level?
Right.
42
right.
Tribes.
That's a good
Do you
one.
want the link to come on?
That's a good one.
Come get this BTP cooking. That's all you got to do. Come show and prove. But let's play her words because we want to hear what this hypocrite has to say. She turned on the dime. Just one day, she just turned on. Nah, she seen that we're like, damn, I could get a bag off this thing. That dude Ta-Nehisi Coates done created a firestorm with that piece in the Atlantic, the case of reparations. Hold up. But watch how she disses him, y'all. Let me blow this up. Let's hear this.
That I am in favor of reparations, but reparations for me looks a lot like what Bernie Sanders defined. Reparations for me is massive investment in poor communities, and for me the whole problem with Ta-Nehisi Coates and what he did to me was really intellectually bankrupt, because what he's asking Black people to do is follow this kind of identity politics, this kind of Black identity politics. Everything has to be about us being Black people as opposed to everything being about us being poor people, disproportionately poor. And he wants us to follow down that road, which really is a road to nowhere. It leads to a goose egg.
So, I mean, y'all seen it and heard it for yourselves. That she thought that this thing, like my position on reparations is the same. My knowledge base has grew. My knowledge base has grown. And that's it. It's just as simple as that. Like we had to come on tonight and go at her. So I want to address some of these. Like Eddie Harris, do you want the link? Because you could come on. Because I'm betting you one of them soft, round-faced dudes that's in the chat. That's like, and then you're going to say most of the civil rights leaders of yesteryear was gay. Like,
I think he's gay.
He might be.
He's
he might
probably
be.
gay.
Do you want the link to come on and show it? Just show and prove that what we're saying is wrong. Don't be no sack rapper. Just disprove us. 42 tribes. If what we're saying is wrong, why not just jump on here and go in?
I got a question because I want if any of them come on, I want them to explain how down ballot Democrat, since she wants us to stay put, because this was the message. Y'all need to stay where y'all at. Basically, this is what she's saying. Don't come back to the South. The South is a despicable place. I know because I live in this despicable place, right?
That's
so at
what
the
she
end of the
said.
day, y'all should stay where you at and stop, quote unquote, running. Right. So I'm in New York City. I'm telling you the situation in New York City. I want one of these jokers to come on and explain to me how the down ballot Democratic strategy is going to address the issue of gentrification, how it's going to address the issue of this large influx of immigrants in New York City, which is a destination city, not only a destination city, one of these cities where they can seek a haven. Right. So at the end of the day, they being allowed access to the electorate. They're also have access to driver's licenses, right? And these are the Democrats that are doing this. It's the Democrats that are doing it. So what I want them to do is explain to me how this quote unquote strategy addresses that for the freedmen in New York City. How does it help us when it's the very people you're talking about voting for that's making these maneuvers to overpower you in this city?
It's just as simple as that.
I don't care how many Black people are registered Democrats. I'm talking about your so-called strategy. I'm not talking about people's registration or party affiliations. I'm talking about this as a so-called strategy. Break down how it helps freedmen in New York City. I want to use my city as an example because New York is the place that's trying to give foreigners the access to the electorate. So I want you to explain to me why the Democrats are doing that and how you voting for them helps. This is a contradiction. These niggas is caught up in contradiction, right? But they don't want to acknowledge that they're caught in this contradiction because they love this female that's telling them to get caught in this contradiction.
I'll just block that Eddie dude. It's so easy to say something in the chat, man. And half of these cats, like if you've seen them in person, they just wouldn't have that same energy. So I know it, and I don't even want to go there. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, some people offended by the gay stuff. Hey, look, it is what it is. Some people got different views about it. And, you know, my brother Ali is expressing the fact that how can somebody like that lead Black people anywhere? How?
That's what I want to know. What, like, see,
if it's about family and lineage. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
civil rights leaders most of them were gay. Dr. King wasn't gay.
That's right.
Malcolm X wasn't gay.
That's right.
Right? What person that led us to anything substantial was gay? I ain't talking about Baldwin. Baldwin was a speaker.
That's right.
Baldwin was a speaker. I'm talking about actual leadership that helped to bring about legislative change, policy change, etc. Who was gay that led freedmen in this country anywhere? Where did they lead us? To what? John Henry Clark, well, he was a historian, but even still, from his political ideas, he wasn't no gay person. I mean, he had political ideas. He wasn't gay. Who was gay? I want to know who was gay. Who was these gay leaders that led us someplace? See, when we say gayness shouldn't have anything to do with it, it does. Because especially when you understand that there's an agenda, and that agenda is targeting our children, right? I just seen a tweet earlier today where these people are talking about introducing porn into introducing porn into the public school system to quote unquote help young children begin to learn how to cope with their homosexuality. There's an agenda. This thing is being pushed at our people. How does it not have anything to do with it? Of course it does. It's in our faces every single day.
Here go this other troll that's always in our comment section. And 42 Tribes, I just put the link in there. Let me see. That's right, Muffin Nellin. These 3 black men on the wall behind me wearing gay. So, but anyway, Troy Brown, this is a chat that he's another cult member that always is in our comment section after our videos. The Back South strategy doesn't account for black people's inability to deliver consequences to non-Democrats. Like, these people just saying stuff, family. What does that even mean? I put the link in the chat. Click on the link. Click on the link.
So I have something, right? The consequence that they gave to non-Democrats by putting their undying support behind.
All right, so we got, but go ahead, I want you to finish, but we got the 42 Tribes person on.
Fine. The consequence that they gave to Republicans, excuse me, by voting Democrat was they put into position a bunch of Democrats who are concerned with LGBT stuff, immigrant stuff, and giving the rights to vote in places like New York City to foreigners. This is the consequence, the quote unquote consequence to Republicans. Right. So I just want whoever this is that's in the back, 42 Tribes, to answer my question.
And somebody named Coach is in the back.
I want them to answer my question because my question is specific. I don't want to argue theory, right? I don't want to argue theory. And that's what Yvette said. We don't want to talk about theory. F theory. My thing is this. My thing is this. In New York City, there's a very specific issue going on. You showed the article. They're trying to give foreigners the access to the right to vote. Not only that, we're dealing with gentrification. So my question is very specific. How does down ballot Democrat voting address the issue of gentrification in our neighborhoods like Harlem, Bed-Stuy, you name it, right? How does it address that? And how does it address the fact that the Democrats are working particularly to empower foreigners so that they do not have to rely on you as a black base?
That's right. So 42 Tribes, unmute yourself. And
I would like an answer to that question.
To how it would prevent gentrification? I think, we're kind of in a good situation because if it doesn't.
No. Just come on, answer the question.
Gentrification, that means people would probably move and concentrate themselves.
Move where?
In a state like you're talking about. Like they probably move maybe to Atlanta. Maybe they go somewhere. The problem, like with what Yvette's talking about, is how feasible that is. And I don't necessarily agree with her there. Like I can't really support that because I think you got to go with multiple strategies, and if one, and I think the strategy in at least finding one state that you can make your capital makes sense. So I would call her up and argue with her about that. But I do think until you actually have a plan and you're going to do that, then down ballot works because the way she's expressed it many times.
No. Hold on. Forget expression. We want to know how it works. Give us an example of how it works.
I think the only time, like, and I haven't studied that. I've heard Glaude speak on it, and I've heard Michael Moore speak on it. But in simple terms, it would work like you go out and you vote for the Democrats you like. You're voting as a Democrat. Hell, if you find a Republican that's on your stuff, you vote for them, but you're voting as a Democrat. So now you have a big Obama-like turnout if you have the people as Democrats. But you look at the ones that you don't like Dianne Feinstein, Clyburn, Biden. You don't vote for them. Now they go back to the table and like, oh, the Democrats they like, they're winning, even if it's only a handful of them and one of them is a dog catcher, but the ones they don't like are losing. I think that works until you have the ability to really take over.
So you're talking theory. You're still at the theoretical
phase. It ain't been done. Like it
hasn't been done.
So again,
Loud and Michael.
Go ahead, Ali.
Oh, this is what I was talking about. She has an example of what moving and becoming a dominant population in the state actually does in her own state. It's tangible. We're talking about something tangible. The fact that you have this Raphael guy as a senator in her state has everything to do with the fact that this migration of Black people back to the South, because we already said that this is a pattern that's already happening. It doesn't have anything to do with us talking about it. It's already been happening for years. The majority of our people live in the South, and the fact that the pattern has shown that Black people have been migrating back to the South anyway. All we're talking about is giving it a political intention. So the fact that she has this Black senator in her state, and the fact that she has a Black woman who will probably be the next governor of that state, shows exactly what we're talking about and why that kind of thing would actually work. What she's talking about and what you guys are talking about is all theoretical. It's all theoretical, and it does nothing to answer the specific question I asked you about a major city like New York.
But isn't that generally how politics works? So if they lose and they know why they lost, they have to
no, I'm gonna mute you. Generally, do you know how to answer a question?
I asked a specific question, brother man.
Answer the question. Like I said, I'm not. Maybe I don't have the like example of when it was used outside of the ones that I heard other people give. And really, Glaude was talking more like theory. Michael Moore was talking about how it just happened in a place. So that's my only two examples. I haven't studied it that much. I'm just saying, like, that's basically how politics works, stuff. My issue is, if they don't know why we don't vote for them or didn't vote for them, if we just stayed home and didn't vote, I had an issue with that. And that's mostly what they were competing against.
Can you give us an example? They were competing
against more like the FBA type thing, where let's just not vote.
And but can you give us an example?
Okay, so it's okay, bro. I think he gave us what he could. What about the next person? Thank you, 42.
This is Avery. I didn't realize it was.
Yeah, it is your dog. Man, what's wrong with y'all, man? What's wrong with y'all?
Avery, you got to answer for my question.
You got to answer to the question.
No, you answered my question. Why y'all playing like this?
All right, cut Avery off.
Why y'all playing these games,
Avery,
man?
Cut him off because he's being a bullshit artist. We don't got time
for that.
Man.
That dude is
at least.
So don't ever come back on Be the Power, man. Don't make up another page. We blocked your last page because you's a fence straddling sucker. Don't come on the channel, bro. Get out of here, man. Oh, these people are crazy. So
I respect 42 Tribes.
Yeah, we respect you for trying to at least come on.
Thank you.
And trying to answer the question. And we respect that. You know what I'm saying? Because Yvette not going to come on. Tone ain't going to come on. Reggie from Boston or Ja'Cory Arthur, the people that's supposed to have the answers, they're not going to come on. At least you tried, but you didn't have an answer. You don't have an example. The only thing you can do is give a theoretical framework on someone else's idea. You're talking about Yvette's idea and Eddie Glaude's idea. You're not talking about anything tangible. Brother Ali spoke to the fact that in this state, there's a possibility that we may have a Black governor. The reality is we have a Black senator in Raphael Warnock based on a majority-led Black coalition. Okay, so Angela Nirvana says she wants to, please, because I'm putting the link in the chat.
No doubt. But Sister Angela, I still want to answer to my question.
That's right. We want to answer to the question because all of these theories is just going to take us to, you know, damn.
Can I ask one thing real quick? Did Devil's Punch Bowl keep us from having the majority in Mississippi?
Say it again.
I mean, if the Devil's Punch Bowl and that genocide keep us from having a majority in Mississippi, because I've heard like that it was that large, and I really don't know. And I was wondering about that because this is theoretical, even though it's the movement is moving. But you could also say the same is true with us voting with common sense when it comes to voting as Democrats. That movement is moving and wasn't around 10 years ago. It was just vote Democrat.
Okay.
It wasn't like, okay, we need to get rid of these Democrats. Who signed an HR 40? Who was signed an HR 40 before?
Yeah, Robert Reed. Jump on too, Robert Reed.
Okay.
Hold on, 42 Chuck. Robert Reed, you be iffy sometimes. You be iffy sometimes in the chat. I don't know which way you be leaning some days. So you could jump on too. Everybody that want to come on and show and prove, you got the opportunity. It's just as simple. I don't forget your theories because I'm going to just keep pointing to things that have actually worked. Even if we move outside of just black folks and what they did in Georgia, and we're going to get to your question, 42 Tribes, I can still look at the Vermont model and say that worked. That worked. And then I can show how it worked against us in the reverse. Because when we moved from places, remember we did the book club, the Bloody Shirt, where we showed that we had black majorities in 3 states that they ran us out from. They terrorized us. Let's go. So 42 Tribes spoke about the Devil's Punch Bowl, basically domestic terror, which I just spoke to, that ran us out. Remember, Frederick Douglass didn't want us to leave from these. I don't know if y'all read any of these books. I don't know if you read The Bloody Shirt. I don't know if you read Charles Blow's The Devil You Know. I don't know. I don't know. But they ran us from these places. This decimated our voting numbers. All of our able-bodied youth went up north looking for jobs and trying to set up homes so that they could eventually bring their people from the South. And even in that, the majority of the free blacks was still in the South, believe it or not. Believe it or not. So if you're going to ask a question from a theoretical basis, I'm just still going to bring you back to the history, because the history shows that if we never moved from the South, we would still have black majorities in these states. It's just a fact. That's the closest thing I could give you to a theoretical answer. What happens if black people weren't the victims of terror, domestic state-sanctioned domestic terror? Well, we're the political majority in the demographic majority in these southern states. That wasn't the case. So Sister Angela Nirvana is on. Peace to our sister. She said she can make it make sense. I want to hear it.
Hi, family.
Peace,
Thank you
peace.
so much.
What's up,
I,
sis?
I just want to commend you, brothers, and all of us that are really pushing the needle on reaching critical mass when it comes to this fight, this very necessary fight for reparations. I haven't been here in a while. I see y'all sometimes in my chat, and I'm always honored to have you. Okay, so this is my thought about the Democratic down ballot strategy. I get your point, Ali, and I think that what needs to happen is we need different strategy when it comes to our state level politics as compared to the federal level, because what you're speaking of is real. With them seeking to give the illegals the right to vote, Ms. Powell has already shared with me out of the DMV about, I think there are 3 or 4 cities there that the illegals have the right to vote. So this thing is catching. And when you look at things like wanting to give illegals who were separated from their families at the border $450,000 apiece, it's a real problem because folks want to talk about the Republicans who neutralize our votes through gerrymandering and the like, but nobody want to focus on the Democrats weaponizing immigration against us, which is another way to suppress our vote. And the reason they're paying or agreeing that the DOJ should award these illegals is because they are absolutely looking to neutralize our vote. They're looking to replace our vote. Why? Because of Be the Power, the reparationist perspective, politics in Black, because we are putting a Black authority. We are Tariq Nasheed. We are putting a full court press and not letting up on their aces. And so now that we've weaponized social media to expose the Democrats, now they're really looking to flood the country with immigration at warp speed. That's what we're seeing. This money that they're talking about given to these illegals and that they paid out to these refugees, they're buying the vote. They're buying the vote. That's what they're doing as they sit back and buy the vote with our reparations. So what you're speaking of is real. And the way I understand Ali and the family here, Democratic down ballot, it goes back to what I shared on your platform and my platform often about Dr. Charles Morris, pastor of Abyssinia Church, who stated that Teddy Roosevelt shot us when our guns were empty because we had already delivered him the White House, and he dishonorably discharged 167 Buffalo soldiers who were wrongfully accused of murdering a second white man after being quarantined to their barracks for being wrongfully accused of murdering the first. And Dr. Charles Morris says, we're going to fix you. We're going to gridlock the government by delivering a blue top of the ticket and a red Congress to protect the Black South. Now, when I'm speaking in terms of federal politics, I'm speaking in terms of the midterms. Now that the top is blue, the Congress needs to bleed because everybody's got their strategy, fam. The Latinos or the Mexicans or the Hispanic community, what they do is they cape for the Democrats under $50,000. And then they cape for the Republicans once they make 50,000 or greater. Everybody is playing chess with this vote because it sets them up to get the tangibles we're still fighting for. Why? Because we continue to vote blue no matter damn who since FDR. And now we've been neutralized economically. We're now nationally have a national median income of around 30,000 with a national median home price of about 400,000. And you guys already know this data. So what we need is not to encourage people to stay home like I hear. I don't hear that from you guys, but I hear that from other new Black media. Just don't go and vote. Well, guess who's going to vote? These immigrants. Guess who monopolizes that council over in New York and why they're about to give these illegals the right to vote? They've got a few Blacks sprinkled up in there, but it's predominantly Democrat and it's predominantly immigrant. Go check out the names, okay? And
That's
so when we don't show up to vote and when we don't run for the council and we don't run for office, this is what we get. Freedmen are being locked out, not Black immigrants. Black immigrants are about 300 times or greater more wealthy than us as freedmen. And we make up 90% of the Black population, but they are truly winning, which is why you got coons like Joyanne Reed and you got coons like what's Roly-Poly Martin. That's why you got them in these spaces to fight against our repair, because we don't have anybody in position that can be louder than the Black immigrants, whom the government knows what they're doing when they place them there. So I'm saying that in your city, Ali, a democratic down ballot strategy on the state level is not going to work right now because we've got a blue top of the ticket. We don't need to stay home. We need to play chess with this vote. Now, what we've come to understand is a trifecta of either party is to the peril of our people. And that's why I really like Dr. Charles Moore's strategy, which I got from the book Prejudicial that I reviewed on my channel. That's where I learned that strategy when we were reviewing the presidents. We need to mix that up and lock it down. Now, how does that work? Well, the Congress holds the bag. We know that the Republicans, by and large, I'm speaking federally now, we know that the Republicans, by and large, expect us to pull ourselves up by our bootless straps. This is what they want to kill and steal our reparations and then require us to do what we did when we created 50 Black Wall Streets all over the country. That's why a trifecta of the Republicans doesn't work, because why is that, family? Because the majority of freedmen are poor in this country. The majority of freedmen are poor, and they're being encouraged to stay home and not weaponize the only commodity we've got, which is our vote.
But
we can't afford to stay home. So I'm saying that to say that when the top is blue, we got to make that bitch bleed in the Congress. Okay? Right. And then from henceforth, that we must install a red top and a blue Congress until we can replace the lanes with full-chested cash reparationists like Tamara Johnson Shealy and my brother down there, I can't think of his name, Marcel, who is actually working to unseat Kuhn Clyburn. That's the only way. If we continue this trifecta, we already see where that's getting us. We will be the permanent anchor of this country's capitalism. We will be the bottom cast henceforth if we don't pivot and come up with a chess move.
So
go ahead.
Go ahead, Ali. Go ahead, brother.
What I was going to say about that, right? Because I don't disagree with everything. But what I was going to say about that is specifically as we're not promoting not to vote, right? That's not our thing. We're not saying don't vote. But what I would say, going back to the article, when Nyhiem was reading it, there was a Republican in that New York Times article who expressed that giving the right to vote to these non-citizens is not in the interest of the citizens of the state. It gives these people access to things that they should not have access to, that gives them the ability to have a say in things in the city and within the state that they should not have a say in as non-citizens. So what I think we have to get away from is the fear of voting for the opposition when it comes to these specific issues. And I'm not saying that that we should be necessarily voting down ballot Republican. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, in a city like this, right, and this is, to me, would be the answer. In a city like this, if you're not going to withhold your vote, then the obvious answer that people are afraid to say is you're going to have to vote for the opposition. There's no other way to look at that, right? You're going to have to do that. And down ballot Democratic voting to address a state issue or to address a city issue, because those are Democrats too. And just like you said, these are Democrats who are part of the decision making when it comes to giving these people the access to vote. So when it comes to this particular issue, what you're going to have to do is vote for the opposition if you're going to vote. And if you're not going to vote, then you're going to wind up having to withhold your vote. But at the end of the day, we got to be able to say it and not be afraid to say that we're going to have to vote for the opposition if it's in our interest to do so. That's all I'm saying.
I think we're on the same page, fam. Listen, you got to understand, I know that everybody's eager to start a brand new Black party. I get that. But we can't even get the Green Party over 5% for funding. Okay, they're the closest thing to a third party that we would have.
I've looked into the Green Party, sis. That's not a party that I would throw my support or vote or anything behind.
Family, I'm not asking for that. I'm talking about chess. I'm talking about we've got to stop being emotional when we vote, because that's what's tethering us to the bottom. Folks are emotionally showing up because they're afraid of Trump. Well, Trump, actually passed more policies that were helpful and not as hurtful as the albatross around our necks called immigration. So what I am suggesting is a chess move. And if you vote, if you show up and I brought up the Green Party, fam, Nyhiem, because listen, well, I only brought them up as an example of how you've got the two most powerful parties in this country that will never allow for a third party. So I only brought it up as an example of why we're going to be expending a lot of energy to create a third Black party that's not going to go anywhere because they dominate. They have proven that they can steal primaries and hold elections. That's what they have proven, and that's the power of the Democrat and the Republicans. Both parties suck. Immigration and LGBTQIA is the albatross around freedmen's necks, because white folks killed and stole everything, and now the immigrants and those groups are able to benefit from our civil rights and our affirmative action in a way that we clearly cannot, given that we are the highest unemployed, the highest underemployed, and the highest numbers of homelessness. And since Yvette and them running from voting red, I'm no longer afraid to say I'm going to vote red in 2024. I'm no longer afraid to say we got a blue top turn that make the bitch bleed in terms of the Congress, because it's not an emotional thing. It is a strategy. A trifecta of both parties has shown us. Oh, Nyhiem, you're trying to talk.
Oh yeah, my bad. Let me jump in because I'm sitting here and I'm listening. Like, I'm not voting red. I'm not voting blue. I don't agree with the strategy. You know, when you first said it last year, when you came on, it made sense at that time. But the more I've grown in my political education, if I vote red, what does that change for me? Right?
Okay.
What does that change for Black America in general? It changes absolutely nothing.
And
so if we are going to remain party centered, then we might as well just stay voting Republican. The goal is to become policy centered. And
Right.
it's just as simple as
Right.
that. I mean, we don't need any more. I mean, the goal is to be policy centered.
But we got to get there,
the goal.
fam. We got to get there, fam. And sadly enough, we don't even have critical mass when it comes to understanding the power in the vote. We don't have that. And so people are just blindly, 87% of our electorate delivered what we've got now. So we don't win with the trifecta of either party. We got Democrats majority in the Congress, and we've got a blue top of that ticket. And all we've gotten to date is a hip hop holiday in Juneteenth, which we were already celebrating. And so, like I said, I'm not necessarily, maybe the Congress needs to be purple. I just don't see how it's going to be favorable to continue to vote blue no matter damn who. I don't see how that's working for us because.
But now you're saying vote red no matter who's at the head, basically.
No.
How does that work?
Trifecta. I'm saying when the top is blue, you must turn the Congress red. When the Congress is when we get 2024 back, we must put a red at the top in the blue Congress, predominantly because we're
disagree.
so poor.
I disagree with that strategy. I just don't see how that makes sense for freedmen at all. I just don't see it. I don't see how having Donald Trump as the president, right? Let's just say Donald Trump is the president and a Democratic blue party, a Democratic Congress is going to help us. I don't see how Biden or Kamala as the president and a Republican Congress is going to help us. It's not.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, definitely. But let me just finish making my point. Where are they at on the George Floyd justice bill, right? Nowhere. Where are the Republican senatorial votes for that bill? Which senators are saying they're going to vote for that bill? Now, they said they may vote for it if they remove qualified immunity, which helps the police. But when it came to the model minority, Asian Americans, right? All of them, with the exception of Josh Hawley, one senator, I can't even remember which state he's out of at the moment, but one of those neo-Confederates, all of those Republicans voted for that. Like, so I'm looking at this thing in real time, and I'm like, how then can you elect or vote for an individual in a Republican who is never going to vote for your policies, never going to vote for anything that's going to put you over the top. In fact, after Warnock and Ossoff got elected in Georgia, states all across the former slave South implemented draconian voting measures at the state level. So now we're shifting the focus from what's going on in the states, which takes us away from the very strategy we're talking about, the down south strategy, locks us back into the pageantry of the general election. And at the end of the day, we're still getting the shaft. I just don't see how that makes sense.
May I speak?
Sure.
Trump, like I said, did more for us than Biden. Trump gave the HBCUs money. Biden took it away. Trump also was about a border wall. Now, what we've got to understand is that immigration is an albatross around our necks. It is these people, especially here in California, it's one of the reasons why we've gone from half the population to less than 6%, is because the immigrants and the white folks run this by design. You have to understand that even though Trump was a rude ass, overt racist, that all we did was replace him with, we replaced a rude ass, overt racist with no record against Friedman with two covert racists with records several city miles long. Okay, that's what we ultimately did. So we have to understand that we've got to stave off these agendas that are seeking to replace us. These immigration policies are just tethering us deeper and deeper to the bottom of the Titanic. So while you say, well, what are the Republicans going to do for us? Well, believe it or not, them being about America first somehow in a backdoor kind of way includes us, meaning they're against reparations. They're against these Asians who, oh, by the way, were very instrumental in stopping Prop 16. And they're down here, which we were fighting to get affirmative action back so we can get some quotas going for the freedmen here in California, because without quotas, fam, we are doomed. And that's exactly what's happening. We are the highest unemployed and the highest underemployed. The immigrants are winning down here in California. And now this model is taking place all over the country. So once again, I'm not talking about what the Republicans are going to do for us necessarily. I'm talking about inadvertently their disdain for flooding the country with immigration, although they're both complicit in flooding the country with immigration. Why is that? Because it helps them to tether us to the bottom economically, and capitalism needs a bottom cast, and they've decided long ago that we are it. So they're both complicit, but we're talking the difference between a gas chamber and the guillotine. With the Republicans, at least it's a gas chamber. What you do when you mixed ideologies, nothing can get done with the red top of the ticket or the blue Congress, meaning that they can't harm us anymore. That's really what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to slow it down. I'm looking to gridlock it so that we have enough time to get who we want in Congress. Because when you're outmoneyed, you need the vote, and you need to make the message of the necessity to vote for full-chested cash reparations go viral. We need for Black folks to get on code. We don't need them to continue to go vote blue no matter who. Now, maybe the Congress needs to be more purple than blue, but I'm saying that we cannot have a trifecta. That's what's really killing us. And I do believe that the Republicans pushing back on immigration helps us to stay afloat until we can get in position to do as you're suggesting. Get us to the South so we can be the majority and take over the states. But we need something in the meantime. We're out of time. Thank you.
No doubt. Thank you, sis. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You know that you've basically agreed. Like you said, you don't disagree with what I was saying, but you're basically saying the same thing that we're saying, that voting blue no matter who, which is the same thing as down ballot Democratic so-called strategy. It's no different than saying vote blue no matter who. It's the same exact thing.
That's
You're
what I
saying that
said.
that is not going to work, and that's all we were saying, is that that's not going to work. And hold on, what did Robert Reed say? It did not say that already. They blocked me when I questioned them about their ideas, similar to how y'all are doing here. I'm not blocking you. I don't know what you're
I
talking
just don't
about.
see how they can be the same though. Like voting blue, no matter who, means you're voting for Biden, and you're
Yeah,
loving
you're voting
Kamala.
for the
You're just
Democrats.
loving them. And I say this as a liberal Democratic myself. I wish Trump had won, because in the short and the long game, the Democrats have to feel some pain. But at the same time, I'd rather have something that's closer to gridlock than red. So, and if you look at the details in why they defend voting for certain Democrats for like public policies and stuff like that, it's for stuff that, okay, if we start doing it ourselves, then we don't need it and we can get rid of it and put more leverage on them. But we're not necessarily taking our grandmothers to the hospital. We got like programs for that. So until we have the ability to replace those programs, that's the stuff. All right, we'll take a little of this, Democrat, but these positions, we can't do this because you're just abject racist. And I can point to a bunch of Democrats that are. Obama, I would say he's an anti-black racist.
Yeah.
So I can point, I can go up and down the line. It's scary, and a lot
Well,
of
see,
them
what's interesting about what you're saying is a lot of those races manifest as Democrats. Right, we look at the woman who's the vice president right now. What does she say? And it was a famous quote that was going around social media. I'm not going to do nothing that's just for black people. No, right? That's what she said, right? So at the end of the day, what you're talking about is a political party that's really focused on a bunch of other people other than their so-called black base. So all we're talking about is that it needs to be policy based, even if it means for a specific candidate in a specific race, that it means voting for the opposition. I don't care about what political party they're affiliated with. I'm concerned with what makes sense for us as a group, right? Because this thing is supposed to be about group uplift. So if it makes sense for me to vote the other way in a specific race, I'm not saying vote down on anything, but in a specific race, then I think we should not be afraid to do that, right? And that's all we're saying. So the down ballot Democratic strategy is to don't vote for the president or the vice president, but vote Democratic all the way down the ticket. That's the same thing as vote blue no matter who, because if you're just going to vote Democrat all the way down the ticket, it's in spite of their track record as Democrats. It's in spite of whether or not they're racist or whatever the case is. You're doing it because that's what she said. That was the strategy. They didn't say, well, pick out specific Democrats or pick out specific races, and if this doesn't agree with you, then vote for the Republican or vote for the...
She gives the dog catcher as an example.
Yeah.
Well, the dog catcher is a Democrat, but the dog catcher is a Democrat.
Just so as long as you vote as a Democrat, so they can see they had a whole bunch of disgruntled Democrats that would have voted for them if they were on our policies. So it is policy based. It's just not in the slogan.
So hold on. So on every ticket, right? So we're going to use Sister Tamara Johnson Shirley as an example here, right? We have several candidates that are running. Sister Tamara Johnson Shirley was running as a Democrat.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Yvette Carnell ignored this sister, went on Twitter and lied, because y'all keep saying that we making up stuff. And I've yet to hear anything we made up.
You're right.
But no, I'm talking to the 42 tribes guy. And anybody else that's saying that, right? I've yet to hear somebody put in the chat or either come up here and say what exactly that we're making up. Because the only thing we do is show and prove, and I still got records of the screenshots and all of that. So what Yvette Carnell did, because we spoke with the Atlanta hashtag chapter, and they said they were putting their weight behind Warnock, that they were going to get Warnock.
It was diabolical.
That's what they said. So they didn't support the candidate that had the hashtag ADOS all in her platform. This liar, Yvette Carnell, made a tweet, and I got the screenshot still, that said her platform is all lives matter. When her platform said ADOS this, ADOS that. Even when she spoke to immigration, her platform said, what she wanted to do for immigrants. It was some reasonable, fair stuff. And then she said, but after, and I paraphrase, we take care of ADOS issues. So Yvette Carnell is a liar. And if you think that her down ballot Democratic strategy is something that we should be taking because she theoreticizes that it is going to be effectual, I mean, you're deluding yourself. And that's the only words that I can use. I just got to keep it official. You're just deluding yourself.
Nyhiem, so I would if I was interviewing Yvette and I wanted to grill her on some things, I would grill her on that. But at the same time, I've got stuff on my own channel where she breaks down how down ballot might mean you aren't voting for none of them if you can't find anyone who's worth a damn.
Okay, so that goes. Let me just interject real quick. That goes back to what I said earlier, because I've heard her say it, even if that means the dog catcher, right? So basically, there's nobody on the ticket for you to vote for, except the dog catcher. I'm not going to vote for the Republican dog catcher. I'm going to vote for the Democratic dog catcher. The dog catcher doesn't have any power within the state to set or advance any policies, period.
It's a protest
because he just
vote.
Catches dogs.
It's a protest vote.
If I can interject,
there's
it is
always
a
Democrats you can
protest
vote for,
vote.
but if you can't find one, then that means you're just voting to vote to be counted.
Can I jump
in? Of course. And that's what the Democratic down ballot strategy means, because you're going to always find Democrats, and they're all cookie cutter, all of them.
I've got to clarify something here. Satra Delry 360 clearly heard me say, I'm interested in gridlocking the government. Now, I do hear you, Ali, and Nyhiem, when you talk about it has to be policy driven. What I need for us to understand is there aren't many policies between either party relative to Friedman. Fact. They're not really writing policy with us in mind. So until we get people, when I say a red Congress, I don't mean in 2023, ignore Marcel and ignore Tamara. I wholly disagree with Yvette when she went against Tamara. We were all pushing so hard to get her there, and we did good, but we have to continue to keep our foot on the gas when it comes to getting full-chested cash reparation there. I'm talking chess with this vote. So if that means that Congress needs to be purple, I'm cool with purple. But I'm telling you right now, I don't know of any what the Democrats do and what they're going to do in the upcoming midterms is pretend to be about HR 40 without our edits. They play everything. They played on the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act to get into office, and then they totally abandoned it. They played on these little hearings with the HR 40 because all of us collectively made that a household name with the reparations. Gotten there, and now it's all but quiet other than us keeping it alive. So I'm saying that I hear you on policy, but you've got to show me people that are running that actually have policy with us in mind. I'm not talking about the kind of policies where they throw in POC and minority or Black or African American.
Show you that, sis.
Okay, so this is what we do, Nyhiem. We get together and we come up with scorecards to show the people how to vote, akin to the way the left does, the right does. We need our own scorecards to say how the people should vote and make that go viral in our states and in our federal elections alike.
I think the problem is we're so focused on the general election that we're neglecting our states. Right? We're neglecting local politics, because everything I've heard you say so far, Sister Angela, pertains damn near strictly to federal politics, not state politics. If we don't have control over our local politics, then we don't have control, period. So what winds up happening is the Democrats find somebody who is on their code and messaging within every one of these congressional districts, where if it's somebody that's running for the senator seat, etc., right? They find them and they put all of their money behind them. They put all of their energy behind them. They write out what they want them to say, point for point, word for word. Our neglect of thinking about local politics is forcing us to shy away from the power that we can have at the state level. The things that's going on in the Congress right now, if we had House reps that were freedmen, for instance, that moved with the freedman ideology, et cetera, right? So now we could get into some theory. Then it's like, okay, how do we mobilize in that particular congressional district to get this freedman elected? So now we got a voice in the House, right? We got one voice that's in the House that's saying everything differently than what's being said by the rest of these cookie cutter Democrats like Cory Bush, like Jamal Bowman, who pretended to be progressive reparationists. And once they got into office, they start talking about immigrants and Green New Deal, right? We don't have that. We're spreading our focus strictly on thinking about Biden and Trump at the top of the ticket, and then let the chips fall where they may at the bottom of the ticket insofar as the whole Congress is concerned. I just don't think that we're thinking about politics in a strategic way. I just don't.
Fam, let me ask you, where do the Congress people come from? The state or the feds? Who's putting the Congress people into office? Those are local politics.
But I said that. I said if you had a freedman politician that was running for a congressional seat and you were able to mobilize in that district, and that freedman, he or she was coming with your messaging, then, we could start to make some noise. But we're solely focused, it seems, and I listen to you. I listen to everybody talking this movement. And to me, it appears as if we just got to let Trump or whoever is going to be running for the presidency in 2024, we just let them win. Like that, to me, that's just not a sound strategy.
Okay,
let's mobilize where we're at. We got enough information.
Let me be real
we have
clear.
enough of the messaging to get out there. And the problem is everybody's not on the same page. People just really want to do stuff their own way. They can't give a tangible example of what it is that they're on. They're just coming with idea after idea after idea. And that's problematic. And it's what's going on in this movement. And if people are honest, they have to admit that.
Well, family, my ideology is rooted in Dr. Charles Morris, of what I just shared. It's not off the cuff. I'm not making it up. I'm talking strategy. I'm not talking emotionalism. I'm talking about gridlocking the government. That's why I said I'm not for Democratic down ballot in every instance. For us to turn out to the midterms and vote blue puts us in the same predicament with a blue top. I'm all about gridlocking the government. I'm not attached to either party. I think they both suck. So I am just taking from one of our elders, from one of our ancestors, whose strategy never got off the ground, to say we got to play, we cannot afford to suppress our vote. We must play chess with our vote. What I'm talking about is a strictly chess move. Never allow another trifecta. Just like I mentioned, the Latinx community, they vote blue under 50K, and then they vote red 50K and over. We need a strategy that's a no-brainer. And when you gridlock government, you slow this down long enough for us to get people like Tamara Johnson Shealy in position. And you're absolutely right. Yvette was talking out the side of her neck to suggest that Tamara could just be solely on reparations and not do something for her entire electorate. She has to be able to have a well-rounded platform, but it was far better than the Warnock, who they pivoted to support Once again, I believe that was a hater move. It was personal. And her minions came after Tamara because they were mad at the rest of us for pushing Tamara and putting money behind Tamara. So I'm all for turning the Congress red because of a blue top, just and with these exceptions. Get our full-chested cash reparationist in there. Another thing you spoke to, fam, that's real. When you're neutralized economically, you can't afford to do politics in the way that we want to. Okay, let me explain. Nina Turner, for example, she had a lot of momentum behind her until the Democrats came in at the last minute and put that money behind Shontel Brown. And so that's what I'm saying, that we need an effective strategy in the meantime and in between time until we can get everybody on code, or at least the majority of us on code.
We're gonna have to do that then, sis, because right now, to me, it just seems like everybody is all over the place. We over at BTP. I'm just gonna keep it official. We're not feeling a lot of the stuff that we're hearing out there. And, I'm going to leave it at that. We've been on for 2.5 hours, fam. We about to get off.
I thank you. And I would love to and come together, because united we stand and divided we fall. Thank you.
Facts.
Definitely.
We appreciate you. Appreciate you, fam.
I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you.
And to everybody that clicked on, I couldn't even see everybody that jumped on the link. We was only bringing people on that was because I know Keelan and Brother Prime jumped on. That was trying, that was debating against the reparation, because I can't be sitting on here all night. We could do it again. We could definitely do it again. I have no problem with just having a discussion. You can drop me if you
need to get somebody else on. You can drop me. I'm okay.
But we're about to get off. We've been on here for 2.5 hours. I'm ready to go.
Thank you.
But Sister Roz said something powerful. She said we could keep our strategy offline to speak about what our next moves are going to be.
Facts,
I believe
man.
I believe we need to I'm just going to keep it official. I'm not to bite my tongue tight. I can, but I usually don't. Even if we have the offline conversation, you're going to have people that's going to agree to disagree, just to disagree, because they so used to saying what it is that they're saying, and they're not going to see no strategies outside of whatever it is that they theorize is the way that we should move. And the only thing, I'm like, Brother Ali asked the question, and that question never got answered. It never got answered.
I never answered the question, Nyhiem.
Huh?
I never answered the question.
I maybe I didn't hear it. I don't know.
Ali, did you? Question.
My bad. I could have been distracted.
Did you hear the answer? Angela and 42 Tribes both answered the question, right? But their answers, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong. The answer basically is that down ballot Democratic strategy does not address the issues that I'm raising about New York State and New York City.
Absolutely correct. I do believe that needs to go red personally. Thank you.
So okay. So again, go ahead, 42.
I was just saying, with gentrification, the only way that works is if down ballot is like also including the major Democrats outside of the president, which from what I understand it does. And then it's like, okay, you gridlock the government, and then you don't have as much movement as far as letting people who aren't citizens yet vote. That's the only way I think it would make any sense in that respect. But I think it's primarily more used for getting a hold of that federal dollar. But I just want to close out with this. Thanks for having me. I think Angela makes a good point about how one thing we're united on is that we're all going after the Democratic aces. There's nobody that's given Kamala Harris a pass. And that's kind of what they expected. And part of the reason why we're doing that, and part of the reason why I said the book club is important, is because I watched how you guys handled that Thomas Sewell disciple. We need people that know what they're talking about, that can do that and make the reparations conversation. First, we kind of made it a couple of years ago. Now you make it to the point where people like using the argument because they know it's an easy winning argument. Because we're dealing with a lack. I think this is across the board with any strategy is we lack people power. You know, and you get people power by having influencers that do what you did in that when you were debating that little Thomas Sowell disciple in that reparations debate.
Yeah, and look, like I said, you know, at the end of the day, many of us were all over the place, right? And that's why I wanted to do this stream tonight. I wanted to address what Yvette Carnell said about the. Not only did she attack the strategy, she attacked Charles Blow, right? I'm not a fan of Charles Blow like that. I'm definitely not a fan of his politics. I'm a fan of this book, though. I'm a fan of this book because it's talking the thing that we need, which is political power. And he lays out, in my opinion, and in the opinion of my team, in no uncertain terms, the way for us to achieve that political power. It's just as simple as that.
Well, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read that book. Thank you.
Okay. See my thinking. No doubt. My thinking was you read the book already, sis. Like,
baby, brother, do you know how many books I've purchased? I mean, my God, I've got a wall of books to get through. It is unbelievable. But I've heard about the book. I've heard you guys talk about the book. And now I'm really going to invest in reading it because, you know, I respect what you guys have to say on all these issues politically. I really do have a great deal of respect for you. And Ali, if you need me to help you structure a way to capture the Black vote, what's left of it, because freedmen are being squeezed out of New York. This is like one of the, I think it was Ross said, we're being squeezed out all over the place. Perhaps coming back south is the best strategy, but I'd be happy to help you develop a scorecard if you believe there's some worthwhile policies in New York to help you win the state.
Well, I appreciate that. But like we were talking about, the trend is that people are leaving. So, you know, just from my own family members and friends, you know, and just watching the demographic in my neighborhood and in other neighborhoods around the city change, what's happening is the people are actually leaving. It's not just the immigration issue. It's also what comes with gentrification is the fact that people are being priced out of these neighborhoods. New York is not a cheap place to live, and there's nothing being done about the rents. The rents are not controlled the way they used to be. Where I'm living, the amount of money that's being paid, it's going up because there's a lot of construction being done. That's another thing. A lot of the construction that's being done around the city is changing the landscape. And it's, I mean, you know, if you look at New York now as opposed to even 10 years ago, just from the skyline, you'll see a major difference in terms of how this city is being built up and rebuilt, and the prices that are going up at the same time. So yeah, what's happening is the freedmen population is leaving as you're beginning to get this influx of people from south of the border, etc.
The same here, fam. Cali is the same way. They're squeezing us out. We've been neutralized. We've been flatlined down here. I mention often that the Nigerians back in 2014 was 300 times more liquid than freedmen at 60,000 in terms of wealth position. And we were at 200. And the homeless population is predominantly us all over the country. We're the largest numbers of homeless, the largest numbers incarceration, the largest numbers in foster care. It is a nightmare. And so maybe that's why I'm going to read this book. I was actually looking to come to Virginia to put my daughter in school for business entrepreneurship. They've got a nice degree program there. So we'll be visiting Virginia. I don't know if I can come in the deep South, but if it helps me to be in Virginia to help, you know, grow our population so we can have more political power, it's something I'm absolutely strongly considering since this exchange now. So I thank you guys for enlightening me.
And if you haven't caught the last, I aired the live stream that we did with Charles Blow. I aired it right before we came on here. So it's the video right before this. you know, please check it out. And I urge everybody to check out that conversation, because we're like, and
thank you, Roz.
we don't have no political power. It's just spread out all over the place.
And I'm so grateful to you guys. I'm going to check out your videos. I got so many of y'all's videos that people are like, look at this, look at this. And I absolutely need to. A lot of my time is spent advocating to try to get California the reparations before we become extinct down here. But I absolutely am going to invest in listening, and I'm going to invest in this book so I can have understanding. Thank you so much, brothers. I appreciate you all.
Honor.
Yes, it's an honor and a privilege to be amongst you. Thank you.
Indeed. And you know, I'm glad that y'all came on. You know, y'all know me. I'm a keep it the way I keep it. I'm gonna keep it the way I keep it. I take this thing so seriously. Yeah,
thank you as well. Thank you as well, 42 Tribes. I'm gonna get ready to jump off, bro.
Yeah, I gotta get off too, man.
Love you all.
3 hours.
Thank you, Tribe, in the chat.
Definitely. So you know, we came on. We talked about the back home strategy. We did a recap of the interview with Charles Blow, and we talked a little bit about Stacey Abrams and why, believe it or not, her gubernatorial run in the state of Georgia, when we put on our Friedman lenses and we view it through the scope of this Black South strategy, even though it's symbolic, it's good symbolism for us in that it creates the type of pattern that we're looking for. Brother Ali said it. Without that, those Black people that have come into the state of Georgia over the past several decades, you don't get Warnock and you don't get Ossoff in office in the first place. The Republicans are still heavily in control. They tilt the Senate in their favor, et cetera, yada, 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 yada. I don't got to preach to the choir about that. But what I wanted people to understand is that let's look at Stacey Abrams' election. I'm not telling nobody to even go vote for her. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that there's a possibility that she might win. And being that we are pushing this strategy, we have to look at that now and say, okay, let us dissect, let us reverse engineer everything that she did and come up with a plan as Friedman. Definitely something that we're not going to speak about online. So thank you all for tuning in. And you know, we thank everybody for coming on. The last part was crazy. Yvette Carnell. I don't care what nobody says. That chick is a demon to me. She's a devil. She's a hater. If she doesn't come up with the idea, she hates it. And she's going to keep hating on anything that her tiny little mind doesn't come up with. But she can't prove that her Democratic down ballot strategy trumps this Southern strategy. We're not running. We had to run to get away from. Now we could walk back. Now, honor Sister Angela for the contribution, and Brother L. Lafayette Award. Now we could walk back with our chest poking out, unafraid. We ain't scared of nobody. I don't know what Yvette Carnell is talking about. She's trying to use the fallacy of fear, like we cowards. She's implying that we're cowards because we're saying leave New York City, where you already are only 25% of the population. As Charles Blow said in the interview, you have no way to stop and frisk. No way. Now they're going to add another 800,000. I'm going to call them illegal immigrants. That's what I'm going to call them. Onto the voter registration rolls. They're not even citizens. If you're not citizens, I don't think you're legal. It's me. Stone. You're not a citizen. How do you get to vote? That's illegal. That's illegal. Yvette Carnell has no strategy for that. We call you out. Step up. That's all you got to do. Step up. So let me get up out of here, man. Y'all already know what the motto of the platform is. Don't just fight the power, become the power. Then and only then will you have the power to make a change. And with that, I say peace.